This segment is brought to you by Yamaha. Adding a weight to the hook shank of a wide-gap swim-bait hook makes them even more versatile. Additional weight aids in making longer casts and allows you even more versatility in terms of depth and speed control. Rigged right, the chosen soft bait also works efficiently through cover like timber and weed growth. We've been singing their praises and offering rigging tips for many seasons, beginning with tubes.
On the tube, which is typically one of the key presentations for us in the North Country during spawning time, June, because that's typically also when the crayfish are up shallow. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And we've got about 20 lakes, different lakes in this area. And one thing you find with the spawning in the North Country is that you'll go to one lake and there's fish on beds, and you'll go to another one like this one right here, and it looks like everybody's already finished. This fish is probably a male, but certainly not a bedding fish. And so you get all of these progressions happening at the same time. But the one thing you get in the North Country is it's all focused typically within a week on a given lake. And so you just got to kind of stay in touch with what's happening on each of the lakes that you want to fish. So back we go, and we'll keep exploring here and see what patterns prevail. Down we go. So early season like this, we've got in this particular lake just a lot of heavy weed growth and slime already. And so you've got to go with a text-posed tube. There's a variety of riggings that I like to use. I like to go wacky style from time to time. Straight jig head with an open hook is always a good option when it's possible. But right here we've got to go with that weighted swim bait hook. That's a 170, I believe it is, trocar swim bait hook. So that's a 1/4 ounce, a 5/0 hook on a 4-inch smash tube, Berkeley smash tube. So text-opposed right there so I can come through cover. That fish is pushed shallow against the rushes, the hard stem rushes. Oh. Nice one. Up and in here. Of course, the tendency at this time of year is always going to be for the bass to be shallow. And that's just going to be a predominant factor in your thinking and where you're looking for fish. So in this case, we've got weeds, heavy weed growth all the way out to 14 feet. And this lake is not a deep lake. It's only like a 16, 18 foot, depth lake. So there's weeds almost all the way to the surface, all the way to the bottom. So I'm looking for little clear patches. Typically it's along those kind of either rushes or the hard stem reed beds. So we'll keep at it. They're liking that tube for sure. They're not letting that go. Back we go, big guy here. They're nice 4 1/4 right there, probably.
This segment brought to you by Berkeley Power Bait. This segment's brought to you by Eagle Claw.
Ruined my tube, but that'll give me a chance to re-rig here, and I'll show you how this weighted swim bait hook works here. See, it's wide gap weight on the shank of the hook here, and then this little keeper cylinder right there. So nothing complicated at all. So the point on that keeper cylinder goes right in the middle of the head of the tube, and then we're just gonna screw it on like that till it's all the way up. And then to tell where the hook is going to go through so it lays nice and flat, you just put your fingernail right in back of the shank of the hook, and then you take the hook point, and that's exactly where it goes through, right on the middle on the other side. And that's going to lay flat like that right there and make it fishable through heavy cover. It's one of the most versatile tube riggings that there is.
Weighted swim bait hooks also work wonders with grinder style soft baits like the Berkeley Power Bait Grass Pig.
Nice. Exciting stuff in the shallows. This is always fun. And the grass pig, this is actually what it's made for, is grinding along slowly through grass while it's rigged text-posed so you can work it through the cover. All right, back you go. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's almost like winding in a spinnerbait, I guess. Cast it out, and we're fishing 3 feet of water over weeds most of the time, 4, 5, 6 feet, but the weeds are growing up right to the surface, and so then it's just a slow grind.
Finally, let's add a blade to the weight for even more attraction. And let's use a more aggressive grinder soft bait style, the paddle tail swim bait.
So that's a 178 short carb bladed swim bait, weighted swim bait hook right there. And that's called, as you always have said before, when you slide that hook through there like that, you can work that through cover because it's text pose. That hook is riding right straight across the top. That's what you've often talked about on
Classic
TV.
In-Fisherman information.
You betcha. All right, back at it. Has big fish for sure.
Good one, Doug. Big one, I think.
That's a nice fish. Nice, way to go. All right, over here and we'll put him in the nice fish, Todd. Oh, beautiful. Wow.
That's what we've been looking for, Doug.
Yay, Winnie Christmas. Look at that, folks. Huh?
Totally engulfed that swim bait.
Yeah, he was all over it right from the start. I saw that happen. Beautiful. Huh.
Barely hooked.
Let me see how big he is. Oh, man. Solid, too. What are you guessing?
Good 5.
Oh, I'm saying 6.
All right, I'm going with you. You're the guy in the Hall of Fame, Doug.
All right, what do you? Beautiful fish for sure. Big mouth. Take those big swim baits like nothing. Just incredible fish.
Just a little snack for a big girl like that.